Hi, I'm Christian Williams, and welcome to another podcast episode on CW Physique Transformation, the platform where I connect the like-minded people from all over the world that share the same passion to help others achieve their goals and transform in one's life. On today's podcast, I'm joined by Chris Christofi, all the way from Australia. Chris is a multi-award winning serial entrepreneur with 1.2 plus billion in real estate sales. He has helped thousands of clients get to the property ladder and property market, including myself. He is an author of the best-selling book, Your Path to Wealth, very good read, all of which he donates the royalties to charity, and he's actually inspired me to do the same with my book. He strives to achieve all his goals set, including his fundraising targets, which he beat his benchmark 4 years in a row. He's a real estate investor, philanthropist, founder of CEO of Revenant. Chris is an incredible man. He is an husband to incredible women. He is a father to incredible children. He has been a big inspiration of mine since I saw him deliver an amazing speech in front of 3,000 people in Los Angeles, 3,000 business enthusiasts. And now I consider him a friend. And the reason I brought him on this channel for you, to share his knowledge on your path to success and your path to wealth. Chris, welcome, my friend.
Thanks for having me, mate. It's a pretty warm intro. I don't know how to follow that, but thank you.
Yeah, put it together. So, and again, like I said, Chris, before we get into it, just tell us a little bit about your background. What got you started into the kind of property ladder and kind of inspired to help other people?
Well, look, I've always loved real estate, and as a young kid, I'm the youngest of four. I remember my father gave my two oldest brothers and sister a wedding present. That was a deposit to get into the property market. Now I said to my father, Dad, I'm never going to get married. Give me the money early. I was 19. He goes, why? I said, I want to buy a car. He said, no, find a piece of real estate and I'll give you the money, son. So I started researching real estate so I can get this money so I can buy a piece. I bought my first 3-bedroom townhouse in New South Wales, 183,900. I fell in love and obsessed in the industry. I wanted to know everything about it. I've been working in the industry now for 24 years. Started my business when I was 25, helped 3,000 Australians and had a lot of ups and downs. I've learned a lot about real estate. A lot of it's in my book as well. And yeah, it's just a process that you become addicted to learning and addicted to teaching. So when I was 19, I bought my first property. By the age of 23, I bought 8 just through duplicating a process. And yeah, fast forward, well, that's 22 years later, 16 and a half in business, here we are.
It's amazing. And it's amazing. You see, like, what I've noticed, especially, just being an observer of myself is, this kind of mentality to kind of work and to hustle, I guess, and climb your way to the top. And then when you get to the top, find a new top.
When I turned 24, I had 8 properties and over leveraged. So the company I was working for went into receivership. So I lost all my assets. I had a son who was a year old who became deaf at the time, who got bacterial meningitis. So I went from owning 8 houses, killer income, to being single and almost losing my son, to moving back into my parents. So that's what really defined my journey as an entrepreneur, because I actually knew that real estate was the way to go. I knew I could build my wealth again, and I knew I could teach people to build wealth. So the biggest part that my father instilled in me was hard work. I wouldn't say my father was a very wealthy or successful businessman. We come from humble beginnings, but he had the kindness and generosity. So all my good qualities come from my mum and dad. All my hard work ethic comes from my mum and dad, but my business acumen comes from a group of mentors, teachers, and people that I had around me that inspired me to reach new heights. Because for me, I wanted to start a business, build an empire, and help thousands of Australians, which we've done to date. So definitely my biggest inspiration were my parents when it comes to being kind, empathetic, which is partly why I do a lot of my charity work. But as an entrepreneur, there's a number of business people that I look up to, I inspire, I read, I mind feed every day. And I hang around people that are very successful in their chosen fields, that have the values that that I love and respect, like hard work, being kind, being empathetic, so I can grow and scale my business as well. Because who you hang around is who you become. And the thing that my father taught me, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, he lives the rest of his life and he can eat. So for me, it wasn't the money that helped me. It was the condition to buy real estate. Then my obsession grew. So that for me was the biggest, I guess, turning point. I was always good at sales. I fell into an industry that I loved, I was passionate about. And then the next thing is just surrounding yourself with people that embody the results that you're after. Like with what you do, Christian, with whether it be bodybuilding or running a business. You just got to surround yourself with good people. If you show me your 5 closest people, I'll show you who you are. That's a very old saying. Everyone knows it, but it's very accurate. So when it comes to business, or when it came to when I was doing certain sports, my friends, my mentors, my coaches were some of the best in the country and the world. So they inspired me and they lifted me different heights. So when you said who was my mentor, at every stage in life, I've had different mentors. At every, whether it be sport, whether it be business, I've had different mentors. So right now I've got a coach that helps me with social media. I have a business coach, I have a business mentor. And these people are some of the best in the industry.
Yeah, I'm the same, you know, because like I said, you are one of the people I look up to. There's many people that I see inspiration from. And I go back to that, you know, that first time I saw you, man, you know, like I said, I saw you on stage delivering a speech, and I saw you bring your wife on, and it was heartwarming for me, you know, because I could see that you were pursuing success in multiple areas of your life, not just in wealth, not just in recognition, not just in real estate, but in, you know, family, in just being a good guy. And that was attractive to me, because I think ultimately when you say surround yourself with you know, the 5 people you want to be like, if you could choose 5 people to be around you, or if you could choose your dinner table, you wouldn't choose the same person 5 times. You would choose a person that you can extract the best amount of wisdom from in that area. That could be family, this could be wealth. And then what you do is you compile all that information then, and then you turn yourself into the super mutant type character, right?
I love that. It's a sponge. And you know, a lot of people, they ask that question. I love that point. And I say this, you know, how you inspired to be a certain person. I learned from everyone, good traits and traits that I don't want. I don't aspire to be like anyone. I try to epitomize certain words. So if you were to ask 10 people that know me the most, describe Chris in 3 words, I bet you 90% of the words they use will be the same, because there's certain words that when people think of my name, I want these words to come to mind. And it's not their personality traits, whether that be being a kind, generous, giving person, a student of life or business. I look at words and I say, I want to epitomize that word, that quality, that value. So when I look at some of my mentors and I think you can learn 2 things: what I like about someone, or something that I don't want to be like with someone. So a lot of my mentors, I answer my phone a lot, because one of my best mentors never would answer his phone. So I learned so much from him, but also learned you need to answer your phone when your team calls. So you can learn both ways, good habits and habits that you don't want to have in your ability. And when you said become a mutant, I think that's the best analogy. You should always be learning. So who I was a year ago is not who I am now. And who I'm going to be in a year is not who I am now. I just want to keep improving, keep evolving, keep lifting the bar, keep challenging myself. So I think if you have that philosophy, you're going to have different mentors and coaches in your life.
That's great. I mean, exactly. You know, the idea is that, you know, you want to be extracting knowledge from everyone. So same as myself, that I consider myself a great coach. I've still got a lot of work to do, and I still got a lot to learn. Luckily, I'm passionate to keep learning as much as I can. So I know I'm just going to get better. A lot of the mentors and the coaches I work from, I've learned what not to do and what to do. I haven't frowned upon or looked bad. I've thanked that person, you know, in my mind's eye, of course, you know, even any relationships you could be in that could be considerably toxic. You know, you could look at that as a regret to your life, or you could look at that and think, thank you for that opportunity to show me what I don't want in a person, you know, and or to show me what I don't want to become. So it's very powerful. Let me ask you this. What are the 3 words that people would most describe you by then?
Generous, kind, giving would probably be three of the most. Patient is one that I really want to work on because of my 4 kids.
So did this morning help with the technical difficulty?
Look, with technology, so patient and empathetic. So for me, what people say when you're not in the room is very, very important, and what qualities that you embody. So if I look at my father, because we mentioned him a couple of times, I don't know one human that can say a bad word about that man. And I look at how he is with everything. And that's what I said. The true lessons, what I consider to be a good person, was definitely from my father. My mother, relentless. She will push no matter what. She will go forward no matter what. She's fearless. And I look at it like this. If I'm about to enter a fight or a challenge or a war, and I look beside me, am I happy that you're there? If I look beside me and my mum's beside me, I know that I'm going to be okay. If my big brother's beside me, I look at the attributes. If I'm going to war, if I'm going to go to a fight and you're beside me, I'm looking good. So I always look at it like that. Whether it's been business isn't easy. So business is very challenging. So I look at my executives and I say to them, when I look beside me and I see you, I know we're going to be okay. And I want that sort of level of confidence. So when I look at my team or my direct team, I look beside me and I go, I'm happy to go anywhere with you guys because we're going to win. And we might not win every time, but we're going to keep improving and evolving and eventually get there. So I guess I use those analogies a lot. And sometimes they're conversations I only have in my head. But I look beside me and I think, am I happy this person's beside me?
That's great, man. Thank you for that, because that's so beneficial to where I'm at. Like I said, Chris, we do this for others. We both share a very similar message. I want to help people. You with the fundraising, clearly, you want to help people with the donations and the charities, and even your time today, which I really, really appreciate. And just hearing you say this, because obviously as I'm kind of inspiring to climb and I'm developing a team around me, there's a lot I have to learn about myself and learn about the deliverance of my communication. It's not too aggressive and not too pushy, but still is encouraging. And one thing I've been learning to do the last couple of months is to say to my team, my clients, my family, my friends, is that I'm here for you. And that's been tremendously beneficial. But to say that actually, I'm really thankful you're here. And if because of you being here, I feel more confident, like in other words, I need you too. That's great, because gratitude reciprocates. And that is something I will definitely use. So obviously,
100%.
father's had a big influence in your life, same as mine. My father died when I was 6 years old, right? And it's funny how well parents can, like you said, when you talk about mentors, you can learn what not to do and learn what to do. My father has had an imprint on me, although he died when I was very young. And clearly your parents have done the same. But one of the questions I want to know, Chris, is like, what were they thinking? We got Chris Christofi, we got Christian Williams. I mean, did they want to get us bullied in school? Was that part of the master plan?
Well, look, I'm going to tell you a very funny story. Now, I'm Cyprian. So our tradition is we get named after our grandfather. So my first brother, his name's Patrick, after my dad's dad. My second brother, his name's Zenos, very popular name in Greek, after my mum's dad. Now, my surname's Christofi. So my godfather, who's passed, God bless him, I have his photo with me every day, so I look at him. His name's Chris. So out of all the names that my parents could have landed on being the third son, having a surname of Christofi, they landed on Chris. So I'm Chris Christofi.
Yeah.
So they could have landed anyone, but it gets better. My wife, who is Billy, is the second daughter. Her name was supposed to be Christina. Just before she's about to get dunked, they changed her name to Billy. My wife's third sister's Christina. So I would have been married to Christina. So it would have been Chris, Christina, Christofi.
Wow.
So actually, it's a story that people go, no way. It's true. So I'm Chris Christofi because of the godfather. My wife was about to get called Christina before she got dunked, and then she got called Billy. So it would have been Chris, Christina, Christofi. There you go.
We should get it. We should have got, and then we could have got it on, and it could have been Chris, Christian, and Christina.
It was crazy. So I used to get, I don't know if you guys have the chips. Do you have the chip CCs? They're
No.
crisps. And I used to have them growing up. So my nickname was Toffee Apples and CC because of CC chips. So yeah, I had a few of
Amazing.
them.
But yeah, like well, kind of it's another thing. We have a choice. We never have a choice of who our parents are, where we are born, what we are born into. But you make the best of what you can do. And I've always looked at this like my name is Christian William Williams, and it's great because it separates me from the crowd, and I'm really proud and honored. The fact of my name is different. So this name you can kind of like either shy away from it or you wear it with pride, and it accentuates your personality. So that is great. So another question I want to ask, Chris, which is again, like I said, when I saw you on stage and I saw, how uniformed and collective you and your wife were, and also, I'm up and coming in terms of, I want to be more like you, like many of the people I look up to. And one thing I continuously have to work on is my relationships. I was brought up without the father, so I had the mentality of I don't need anybody else, and it's just me. And I carried a lot of that kind of attitude throughout my life. And what I certainly do know, and it's our motto for our company, is alone we are strong, together we're unstoppable. So one of the questions I have from you is, you're clearly a visionary. You clearly, see into the future and focus so deeply on your goal, and then do what's required to get there. Obviously, strategic plans and all things, are needed. But being a visionary, how important is the relationship between your vision and your family?
Super important. But I'll tell you one thing, and I'm going to talk. I know you, Christian. I know with or without anyone, you'll hit your goals. And I know for a matter of fact, if I'm breathing, I will too. But let me ask you a question. If I put someone equally as strong by your side, how much faster will you get there? How much more impact will you have? How much more will you enjoy it? So for me, there's no shadow of a doubt that whatever I put my mind to, I know I'm going to accomplish. It's just a matter of fact. But having someone who is, in my mind, I'm my wife's biggest fan, is extremely smart, extremely diligent, calls me out from when everything that I need is only going to help me get there fast. It's going to help me create more of an impact. It's more of a mentality of collaboration. Together you achieve more. Everyone says an eagle flies alone because it flies alone. But my thought process is, why not have a team of eagles that all fly together and achieve more? And for me, the way I see, the reason I'm able to work and run all my businesses, and my wife is also a business owner, started Women in Wealth and does a lot of other things, and we have 4 kids, is because I have an amazing team. I'm a reflection of my team. So they allow me to perform at a high level. And the way I see it, and it's a very good way, I heard Gary Vee say this, my team doesn't work for me, I work for them. So for me, I can give them my best, always. And in return, as I said, gratitude's reciprocated, effort's reciprocated, not all the time, but most of the times. So when you find that magical partnership, like with my wife, I've been with her 17 years. I had a son before I met my wife, and now we share 3 daughters and we have 4 kids. I'm a lot more stable. My ability is a lot easier to showcase because I have a partner that grounds me. And if I'm stepping out of line a bit, she'll actually tell me, hey, you need to look at this, this, and this. And I respect her opinion, and I look back and I go, maybe you're right. So how important is it? I think it's very, very important. And if you haven't got a partner, so to speak, a traditional partner, whether that be a wife, a husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, you can have an accountability partner. And I talk about that in the book, someone that holds you to a high standard, whether that be a coach, whether that be a mentor. Now, if you've got that at home and at work, you're blessed ×5. So I think it's important. And surrounding yourself with people you love at work or at home. I spend so many hours here. I want to enjoy that process. So part of my mission and vision is to work with people I love that inspire me. So if I come into work and I'm making great money, but I'm not happy, there's no amount of money in the world that's going to make that okay. So my team's very similar to me in that sense. And as your question, my wife has helped me immensely in so many areas in my life.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I love the analogy. It's like I don't know if it's called the speaker effect, but like, for example, if you have one speaker in a room that gives off a certain amount of vibration and creates a certain frequency, if you have two speakers, two will become three. So rather than be twice as loud, it becomes three times as loud. So it's uniformed. And like you said, that's why we have this tattoo on my arm of the yin yang. And, what people seem to look for in their relationships, whatever they may be, in the relationships of intimacy or into business, often enough, and this is why I think relationships and businesses and so forth fail, is because they look for the same person as them. But ultimately, you need the opposite person. You need somebody that has all your strengths, for all your weaknesses for strengths, and vice versa. And like you said, you learn from them, they learn from you, and your strengths become inadequate.
And you complement each other. You look at my wife, she's very when it comes to health and fitness, this girl's amazing. So she makes me more on point. When it comes to my kids' education, she's the smarter one. She does all of that. I trust her implicitly. When it comes to business, that's my forte, but she's in business as well. So we've got areas. She's made me like I meditate now. I never would have meditated in a million years because I've got ADHD and I can't focus. I'm dyslexic. But a lot of the things that she's enabled me to see things, and in the same token, I've helped her be more aggressive towards her goals to really target certain things. But yeah, we've both complemented each other in a lot of ways. I'm a better business person and a healthier business person because of it. And she's more structured and goal focused because of me.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to the relationship I have. And, I honor my wife now. And I probably, like I said, it wasn't the fact that I always did. And that's kind of probably one of the questions I want to have with you is, obviously, you learn from a lot of your past experiences, and you learn what to do, what not to do. Being so driven, and like I said, your three biggest words, generous, kind, and calm. Generous, kind, and caring.
Empathetic.
Yeah. So brilliant, but also, I can see the drive, I can see the power, I can see the bull, logo. So was there a time where you kind of was like, oh, hang on, I have to pull this kind of section of me down and push this one up because this one is getting more results? Or was it the case of this was always the way I was?
Ever since I can remember, when I was playing pool, I won over 100 events playing snooker. Then I was fighting because my brother was fighting. Everything I did, I applied the same mindset, the same application, the same goal setting. So I can't tell you there was a turning point. But what comes at the core of everything I do is hard work and passion. So it takes 10,000 hours to master any skill or craft or to become an expert in your field. Now, Mark and Gladwell wrote that in the book, The Outliers. So if you're working in a job for 38 hours a week, it will take you 5 years, 3 weeks, and 1 day to accomplish those hours. If you work 80 hours a week, you'll do it in half the time. If you're more focused and dedicated and driven, you can do it in 1.5 years. Imagine if I could do what someone could do in 5 years and do 1.5, and you compound that and extrapolate that over your career. And the only way to do that, in my opinion, is to be 100% passionate about what you do. Now, I love my wife and kids more than anything in the world. But let me tell you, I'm at the office 12, 15, 18 hours a day. She calls me, Chris, are you coming home? So for me, I come here on Monday and I absolutely love what I do. Then I go home and see my kids. But the point I'm trying to make is I'm addicted to what I do as a living because I love it. I love growing. I love business. Then you can do 80 hours a week, 70 hours a week, or 50 hours a week, but be more effective. Doesn't mean you've got to do long hours, but by having the right application, by loving something, you can spend more time doing it. So I've done over 100,000 hours in real estate and wealth creation. And in this book, it says 10,000 hours, you become a master in your skill and craft. I've 10x that in 20 years. Why? Because I love what I do. If I did not like this, I couldn't be here all day, every day. So when you said to me, what was it? I found something I love.
Brilliant, and brilliant because, that is where it is. You're switching it on and switching it off in terms of, you being the best family man when you're at your family. You being the best, but ultimately, like I said, this kind of this obsession is inside. You know, I had the first experience with focus, really, 100%, like you talked about, dedication to something. When I was 15 years old, and I mentioned this many a times, which is great because I'm embedded in the story because I want more people to think like this. I was walking home from school one afternoon, really upset with the way I felt because somebody said that I looked overweight. I decided to change it like this. 6 weeks. I had no idea how to do it. I just knew that I wanted to come back to school 6 weeks later after the summer holidays and shock everyone. So I pretty much stopped eating any foods I considered bad for me at the time. Chocolate, crisp, pop, whatever it may be. I went running every day and press ups. All I knew what to do.
How? Christian, ask you this. What made you flip like that? Because saying it and having the dedication application does different stuff. What made you just say, that's it? What was that turning point that made your mind say, I'm done? What was it?
It was this girl that I had a crush on. She was the one who told me this. And I thought, wow, the people that I really don't want to see me in a way that I don't want to be seen are seeing me in that way from my own doing. So it's like I want to impress this girl. I don't want to make her feel like make her say to me that I'm overweight. So it was like, boom, that's enough. I'm detaching from anything that was leading me down this path. 6 weeks later, like I said, I went running every day. I did press ups. I came back to school and I had a shredded six pack. Honestly, it was transformational. No, everybody who was in my school at that time, if you picked up the phone now, they will remember this moment because the school, like my parents were calling, my mum, they thought I was taking drugs because the transformation was so like this. And it led me down this path to success, you know, in terms of the fitness industry, because I realized if I just put my focus into whatever I want like this, and I just see this, like you're talking about there, you know, excelling, you know, the speed. It was the same when we bought our house. I sat down with my wife in January after we spoke as well. And we did the math and we were like, okay, this is how much money we have. This is how much hours we need to work. These are, if we, you know, we spend this going out once a week for food, coffee, whatever, we worked it all out. And we were like, okay, at this pace, we can buy the house in 4.5 months. We will have enough money in the bank to buy that house and whatever it may be. And then I looked and I said, or we can cut this, and we can double what we're doing and we can buy it in 2 months. And we did. We got our heads down, we focused in, we made some sacrifices, and within 2 months we were ready. So it, like I said, it's that ability to kind of, and I think until you've experienced the outcome of such focus, it's difficult, right?
You hit the nail on the head because one of my friends he goes, an entrepreneur is someone that doesn't work 30 hours for someone else to work 80 hours for themselves. You can't build anything great without putting in the time, without sacrificing. Nothing great's built. So when people look at, oh, that guy's got a nice house, nice car, all these businesses, let me tell you, there was many years I'd get up at 3 a.m. and I'm sitting in this seat 3 a.m. till 8 p.m. There was many times I'm juggling, transferring money at 6 in the morning to pay bills at 6 or 8 o'clock when the thing's open. This was happening for years, for the first 2-3 years. When I started Revenant, I was actually in $348,000 worth of debt because when everything went south, I actually started the business with that much debt. I built it all back, paid everyone back and came here. So people see now and they go, wow, I'd like to be that person. No, nothing's stopping you except 15, 20 hours a day, no excuses, rock up every day. And when the pressure gets bigger, you need to show up. So for me, the harder it got, the more inspired and the crazier my drive became. So when, I'll give you an example. It's actually the first of the month. Last month, we broke 4 out of 5 records. Our loan writing, we lodged over 30 mil. We settled over 24. We broke a record here and there. The first thing I wanted to do was come back here in the morning. And I saw a clip of some gentleman you know very, very well, Dorian Yates. And I love watching him because he's absolutely crazy. And they said, what were you thinking when you won the Olympia? When he was doing, when he wrote his journal, he goes, I was supposed to win. What did you do the next day? He goes, I went to training. So that's the mindset of someone that's just so focused on what he needs to do. So he won and they go, well, I was supposed to win. I need to be better. So the next morning after winning an Olympia, what does he do? He trains. That's just a different mindset. He wrote a journal every day of every rep he did for many, many years. How can a person like that not win?
And again, I
It's
think,
not possible.
yeah, part of that, like, you know, you must see it because, you know, you're a mentor, you have mentors, and, you know, some of this comes with you. You know, it does. Like, I mean, you can't train this stuff. Like, you know, like you're saying, you just do it. Like Dorian Yates, I remember when I read his biography, and he was saying, like, the last day of school, it was sports day, and the idea was to run around the track. And I don't know if you read this, and he was like about, I think he was about 11 or maybe like 14. So anyway, it was like 400-meter track, and he were running round and running round. And then there was one guy that was a runner that he really wanted to, he was like, I want to keep up with him. So after like about 16 laps, the runner gave up. And then it was just him. And he was pushing himself, and no other parents were there because it was football on and they were all home. It was just him and the teacher. And he said, I run around like 46 times. And he said, my legs were killing and I felt like dying, but I kept going. And in the end, the teacher was like, look, I've had enough. We got to go home. And he stopped him and he said, I was so disappointed because I knew I had a couple more laps in me. And that just kind of hunger to push your body in whatever chosen kind of direction, whether it be sport or business, relationship, whatever it may be. I think that comes with us, right?
I agree.
It's a
You can
gift.
teach good. Can you teach great? You look at The Last Dance when you watch, because I love studying mindset. For me, it's my favorite thing. And you look at the way Michael Jordan was. He's just the winner. And one of the most things that I took away from The Last Dance was every negative is a positive. The harder the negative, the better the positive is going to be, because it's going to shape you. The silver lining is there. So when you say your story, that inspired you to your core, to set you on a pathway to start this fitness trend, to become a fantastic athlete, to compete into to Mr. Universe. That moment is what changed it all. So for me, I remember when I was 8 years old, I saw a white Countach, Lambo Countach, the door open in my brother's room. And I loved that car. And I said, I love that car. That, for me, I remember that car and I go, that's why I'm obsessed in that specific car, because when I was 8 years old, I go, that's the car I want. Now, again, coming from humble beginnings, I never thought it would be nice. I never thought I want to get it. I thought I deserve that. I know I'm going to get it and nothing's going to stop me. So there's different mentalities. When I was walking, and this is a silly example, but I'll share it with you. When I was very young and I'd fly with the airplane, you could look right or look left, and I'd look left and I'd think whether business or the first class, and I go, that's where I belong there. I deserve to be sitting in that seat. My core believed that. I go, I need to turn left. And now you're talking about kids from the western suburbs that didn't have much money, humble, but my mindset was, that's where I need to turn left. And for me, that's what I never settled for anything other than that. I knew that that's what I wanted. I knew that's what I was going to get. Now, if the other kids had more money, had more ability, I was going to outwork them all. I was going to build my competency, my mindset to get to that point. And I knew I was going to be hungrier. So that's something that I don't know if you can teach or if you've got it, but you can build, you can slowly build it step upon step. Yeah. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, you like I said, you some things just come with you. You can't explain, you know, and the beauty of maturing is, you know, you can see the breadcrumbs, like you were saying, you know, the silver lining, the decisions you made that were not really decisions. It was situations you were pulled into that were very defining moments and led you to where you are. And, you know, like I said, you look back and you think, why did you have them thoughts about turning left? You know, why did, you know, when I was 13 years old, I would get up in the morning at 4 a.m. I would go out and I would deliver milk on a milk round every single morning. I'd get picked up by the milkman. I would do this up until 4 a.m., up until 6 a.m. He would drop me off. Then I would shower or bath, because my mother never had a shower because we couldn't afford a shower. It was a bath. And then I would go off and I would pick up 2 sets of paper rounds. I would deliver 1 paper round and I have 2 paper rounds on my back. Then I would deliver the next paper round. Then I would go straight to school at like 7:30 or 8:30. And then in school, I would be playing cards and pigeon toss and hustling. Then after school, I would record I'm going to get like in prison after this podcast now with all these confessions. Then I would record VHSs and I would print off the covers and I would sell them to my community. So I was like, I had some like pots of money and I was seeing this thing. And like I said, growing up without a father, my mother did the best she could, but you know, the menu she was providing me with wasn't supporting my appetite. I just wanted more. And I knew, you know, I knew there was more available as long as I was willing to work for it. So it was a blessing. So very good. Chris, I don't want to keep you much longer, right? Because time is of an essence, and I really value your time. One last question I want to get from you is, if you could give somebody that wants to transform their life one piece of advice, what would that advice be?
Put in the work. No one's going to do it for you. You need to write down your goals, visualize them, and own them. Your actions need to be congruent with your thoughts and what you say. So people say they want to pay off their mortgage. People say they want to be the best. I don't listen to what people say. I listen to what I look at what people do. So for me, put in the hard work. Actually, if you can actually see, I got goosebumps saying that because it's about hard work. If someone's got more ability, if someone's got more money, outwork them. Surround yourself with good people and work hard. That's the only bit of advice that, and more importantly to that, be kind and empathetic. As you climb the ladder, remember where you came from.
Beautiful. It's beautiful and it's genuine and it's from the heart. Like you said, it's passionate. And, you know, guys, if you're watching this, like, first of all, subscribe to this channel because as you can see, there's a lot of good information coming out there. You know, I'm looking for people that are passionate and are sharing the message that I can learn from as well. And look, I'm sitting here, I'm making notes, I'm writing things down. I'm going to re-listen to this podcast. This is very informative. It's very genuine. There's no rehearsal. There's no clickbait. We're just two guys having a conversation and just sharing the message. And Chris, I just want to say thank you, man, for your time. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate being on. I've got one last question for you. Do you think I can win Mr. Universe?
With that mindset, I think you can do anything you want to do.
You're good, Christian. Anyway, man, I love your work.
But I will tell you this. You're going to need a fitness coach. You know where I am.
You're a gentleman, man. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, buddy. And Chris, we're going to put all the links to your LinkedIn and your website. And guys, like I said, your path to wealth, brick by brick. Chris is donating the royalties to this to charity, which is amazing. He does a lot of charity work, but this book is very informative. There's some good strategic plans in there. And if you want to get on the property ladder and you want to build your wealth brick by brick, check this book out. Chris, thank you once again, man.
Thank you, man. Have a great day, bud.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.